For sure. Alright, during the match we lost the die roll. Very, very unlucky. But we've got a Spellskite, a Kitchen Finks, an Eternal Witness, and some mana. You know what, this hand's pretty slow. But I like it. I like it against a lot of what we could see. Obviously, we don't want to play against something like Tron, but we never want to have to play against something like Tron. It's going to be something like Junk, though, and honestly, I think this hand is fine for something like that. So we get to play a turn 2 Anafenza. Spellskite will never get a bolster trigger. Alright. They get to take our Eternal Witness. So Eternal Witness is great, it's just Inquisition fodder. Doesn't break up our combo. Obviously I would much rather just... Okay. They must have another discard spell to follow that up with on the next turn, because there's no way you ever let somebody keep an Eternal Witness. Or they have a Scavenging Ooze for next turn, maybe? Not super sure. I am comfortable cracking a Verdant Catacombs here for a basic forest spell. And putting a Spellskite onto the battlefield. My opponent could have Path to Exile in their deck, so it's important to keep some basics in our deck still. Oh, this music's getting a little bit obnoxious. Let me know how you guys feel about the music. I just put in a... they do have the Scavenging Ooze. Alright, that's super unfortunate. Yeah, alright, well played from my opponent there then. Pretty much had to have Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, maybe they won't go for it though, like... We can keep that around here. Just gonna grab basics, even though I said I wasn't going to. Really need to draw a Path to Exile so that we can do something. I mean, Spike Feeder Archangel of Thune is a sweet combo because it doesn't use the graveyard. Neither does Quill Spike Devoted Druid. But Scavenging Ooze is the reason that I continue to play main deck kill spells in my Collected Company decks, because Scavenging Ooze is just such a good card. And not only is it good, but it's such a like ubiquitous card. Anybody can play it. Even like the Death Shadow decks can play it, but mostly you see it out of junk decks like this. So my opponent fetches a basic forest, eats away that, and then plays a Voice of Resurgence. Alrighty. So now if we trade Kitchen Finks with Voice, our opponent gets to eat the Voice as well. You know, that's not a horrible draw. My opponent continuing to keep open green mana, which is a little bit unlucky. I think I'm just going to develop Overgrown Tomb first and play Spike Feeder. This allows us to potentially combo kill my opponent next turn. Obviously my opponent's going to be packing a lot of removal, but we do have a Spellskite on the battlefield, so my opponent would need to have 2 removal spells open. Fatal Push plus Path to Exile. This is going to be an end turn Fatal Push on the Spellskite, yeah. Just to keep away any shenanigans. My opponent knows that I've got another Verdant Catacombs in hand. They know that I have the mana to cast an Archangel of Thune next turn, so they just want to make sure that's not at all a possibility. My opponent's not leaving open white mana, though, again. Yeah, I could trade Spike Feeder for Voice of Resurgence. They definitely don't want to attack with Scavenging Ooze. I could trade Spike Feeder for Voice of Resurgence, but then Spike Feeder's gone. It's in the graveyard. And my opponent's just going to eat it with Scavenging Ooze. They're going to have an even bigger Scavenging Ooze. I'm going to take it. For this turn, I'm going to take it. And Collected Company. Alright, that's not quite where we wanted to get. But I think still pretty decent. There's nothing that we could hit off this that wins us the game, but if we get multiple Kitchen Finks, that means my opponent has to start keeping up multiple Scavenging Ooze mana, and we're not going to end of turn this Kitchen Finks into double Voice of Resurgence. So let's go ahead and... I don't know why I called it a Kitchen Finks. It is a collected company. Alright, Revelark is on the bottom of the deck. That is important to note. We're going to gain some more life points. I'm just going to play Verdant Catacombs here. My opponent already knows about it, but more importantly than that, I mean, I could see an argument for playing Horizon Canopy there, too. The main thing that it's bad, it's not like I have enough mana, but it would be bad if, like, I wanted to play Horizon Canopy and Gavany Township next turn. As it stands, I wouldn't have enough to play activate Horizon Canopy, play Gavany Township, and activate it, so it's kind of a moot point. I'm just cracking this Verdant Catacombs. My opponent's gonna eat the Spellskite, and we're gonna move on with the game. Voice of Resurgence. I will gladly trade for Voice of Resurgence, though. Another interesting thing that I can do is if my opponent does like the same play that they did last turn. I don't know where my opponent is. If they do the same play that they did last turn, this next turn, they attack with a Voice or two, attempt to eat them. What do I want? I guess I just want Overgrown Tomb. I don't need more black mana, but I also don't need more white mana. So, right, if my opponent, like, eats both of my Kitchen Finks, that would mean that I get to Eternal Witness. Actually, I don't want to always yield to that in case I draw my own Scavenging Ooze. I'd be able to Eternal Witness and get back this Collected Company. So, alright. Looks like they are going to make the same play, and this time I am going to take them up on that offer. And they're only going to be able to eat one Kitchen Finks here. Yeah. It's going to give them some pretty big monsters, but they only get to eat one Kitchen Finks. And that means I'm going to get to Eternal Witness back this Collected Company. Now, my opponent sees what is going on here. They're not going to fall for it. And they are going to just let those Kitchen Finks persist. So they realize that some bigger things could potentially be happening in the future. Now, I really, really wanted to draw a... Really wanted to draw a Gavany Township there. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a card here. Hope to hit a Collected Company. Court of Calling would also work. My opponent can't Fatal Push Spike Feeder. Nor do they really want to give me an additional Beast of Burden here. But Collected Company, Court of Calling, both really good draws. Not going to go for the Eternal Witness play this turn, unfortunately. It was good respect by my opponent there to not activate a Scavenging Ooze to exile one of the Kitchen Finks. I think the fact that I returned both of them, oh, that's so brutal. Alright, so now we've got a really tough thing to figure out here. Because this Spike Feeder is almost just about to be cashed in to reset both of these Kitchen Finks here. They're going to end a turn, either eat Company or eat one of their Voices of Resurgence. Make a huge Scavenging Ooze. I'm about to just lose to just big creatures from my opponent here, which is pretty unlucky. Would love to keep this Spike Feeder in play because I know the second that it goes to the graveyard, alright, they are going to eat the Collected Company there. So, they saw what I had in mind. They knew what I was doing. They saw the writing on the wall there, which is unlucky. So like here, my opponent can play a creature. My plan is like Kitchen Finks, Voice of Resurgence, double block on an elemental token. And then we're going to use Spike Feeder to power up the Kitchen Finks so that it'll persist again. It's just going to let my opponent to eat it. I don't know. I'm not feeling like I'm in a great spot here. Maybe I don't even eat it. Maybe I just simply trade, which gives me the out still of Archangel of Thune. Yeah, let's just double block and trade with one of them. So give me a 3-3, and my opponent will have a 3-3. They could also go for a removal spell in response here. Kill the Voice of Resurgence or kill the Kitchen Finks. The one thing that would be great if they did, and I can't see any universe where my opponent does this, would be absolutely nuts, but if they just tap out to animate this Shambling Vent, it'll turn it into a creature, and then these guys, which have power toughness equal to the number of creatures my opponents control, it'll get one bigger. Then I just like Spike Feeder the Kitchen Finks. Yeah. That's definitely asking for a little bit too much. Asking my opponent to make the worst possible play imaginable here. This actually isn't as bad as it looks here. My opponent's going to make me sacrifice a creature. I am going to pump up Kitchen Finks, sacrifice that. If they want to eat that Kitchen Finks, that'll mean I get to use Eternal Witness. If I draw a Path to Exile, I can almost win the game here. Alright, and then this they are surely going to eat in response, yes? Yes, alright. So that one's too good of a target, and I don't have a Collected Company in the bin. What this allows me to do now, though, is just play an Eternal Witness and get back Kitchen Finks. That'll make this a 4-4, which is not enough to take out Liliana. I'll be discarding Razorverge Thicket. The problem is Liliana will get to activate again the next turn. I don't think I really have a way around any of this. If I play two creatures, that does give me a 5-5 attacking elemental that I could even turn into a 6-6. Which pressures Liliana into my opponent sacrificing their Voice of Resurgence. So let's just go ahead, crack this Verdant Catacombs, go get Basic Forest is fine. And go ahead and get Kitchen Finks. So my opponent's like a little bit constrained on mana. Not really, we just have a bunch of mana. And yeah, we'll be discarding Razorverge Thicket to my opponent's Liliana activation. And I'm actually pretty fine with that. It's pretty likely my opponent would have to discard a spell if they'd like to activate Liliana. And the fact that I just get to discard a land, it doesn't really mean anything to me. Well, I think that works out A-okay. I've got an Elemental token here that is bigger than my opponent's, so that's good. I also have a Noble Hierarch that I can play, which can make that Elemental token into a 6-6. So, honestly feeling kind of okay. Alright, unless my opponent ripped a land, they're going to discard a spell here. Lingering Souls. Ah! Okay. That is great. That is really fantastic with the Elemental token. So, what is my opponent thinking here? I think they're thinking they have a spot removal spell. Fuck here. Oh no, they're thinking that this is a Scavenging Ooze. And they've got 3 mana open. They can give it +3/+3. So it's an 8/8. No luck's given, baby. No removal spell one time. Scavenging Ooze really is just that annoying that this is a worthwhile block. We're going to trade our Elemental Token, our Eternal Witness, and the first half of our Kitchen Finks for this Scavenging Ooze. But once we do that, we can always reset the Kitchen Finks with the Spike Feeder here. This is going to turn on future Eternal Witnesses. It's going to turn on future combos like Collected Company or Court of Calling. So that's what their play is. They are going to eat our voice, then they're going to eat both of their own voices, and they're going to trade their Scavenging Ooze for our entire battlefield. Perfect. Now they're going to make 2 Spirits. No, they're going to play another Scavenging Ooze. I thought that might be the follow-up. That does allow us to play 2 Eternal Witnesses this turn. So, can't be too upset with that, right? Yeah. That's a pretty good follow-up turn. Not a bad top deck. I would much rather Collected Company into Eternal Witness, but this winds up being fine. We go Eternal Witness, get back Horizon Canopy, and then play our Noble Hierarch. So we have effectively an additional card in hand, too. This is quite the game 1 we've got going here. This is a fun one. Kitchen Finks can now attack with Exalted at Liliana of the Veil. Means my opponent would have to trade a Voice of Resurgence for Kitchen Finks, which they can do at any time, and will be the option that they take. It'll give them 2/5/5s when they flashback Lingering Souls. Alright, can't do it. Can't quite do it. We're going to keep Kitchen Finks in play in the hopes that it might someday become a combo piece in the future. Is this Abrupt Decay on Spike Feeder finally? No, this is a Lingering Souls. So this is a 5/5. That's why I was saying this could have been a 5/5 as well. I'm going to go ahead and take 5 here. We haven't taken any damage so far this game. We can go ahead and take some. Our opponent can sacrifice their Liliana to make me kill, like, potentially a Noble Hierarch or Eternal Witness. I think I'd just give them Eternal Witness at this point in the game. I think likely they're going to sacrifice one of their own spells to keep Liliana on the battlefield. But Liliana's not a super threatening presence against this deck. You really don't care about it too much. And we're doing okay with it. Got 5 potential cards to sacrifice. My opponent has to keep open green mana at all times. And if we ever draw that Collected Company or that Archangel of Thune straight up, we're just going to win. Alright, my opponent is going to make me sacrifice a creature. So, yeah, it's just going to be Eternal Witness here. I think the Exalted trigger is likely to matter more than anything else we got going on. Alright, drew a Quill Spike. I'm going to go ahead and draw a card to start things off here. Just because there might be cards that we can draw that are better than Quill Spike. This is a combo piece that doesn't use the graveyard, so that aspect I like. It can immediately reset the counter from Kitchen Finks without destroying our Spike Feeder. But if we just go 1 card deeper in the deck, we can potentially find an Archangel of Thune, which, like I said, I am pretty sure... you know what? It won't be good game. Oh, yes, it can be good game. So what you have to do with Spike Feeder, when it only has 1 counter on it, is you have to attack with it, get an Exalted trigger, and then before combat damage, gain infinite life and make all of your other creatures infinitely large. So Razor Verge Thicket's going to come into play tap there. A little bit of an unlucky draw. And play Quill Spike off of the Noble Hierarch here. So now what can I do? I can smash for 4 with a Kitchen Finks by just eating the counter and the Exalted trigger. What does 4 do for us? They could triple block it with Spirit. Or just double block it with Spirit and Voice of Resurgence. You know what? I actually... You know what? I think I'm still going to wait. I'm going to wait for a point where that potentially puts my opponent in a position where they're, like, tapping light on their mana, and that's awkward for them. I should mention that in the deck list that I'm playing in paper, there's no Razor Verge Thickets in this deck. They are instead a Marsh Flats and a Horizon Canopy. Just don't own those cards on Magic Online, but that would mean potentially we'd have one more card draw in here. And I think my opponent is just reading Quill Spike, letting it all sink in. This is a long game one, for sure. Both of us have used 10 minutes, and I think we can still win it. I am going to start to try to play a little bit faster, especially because combos and things... Alright, this is an end of turn... No, it's not. Okay. Scavenging Ooze. Getting our Eternal Witness, and then Scavenging Ooze getting their Voice of Resurgence. So Scavenging Ooze, now a 4/4. Opponent plays their land. Remember, Quill Spike can become a 4/4 here, so I can trade it with this Elemental token. I'm not going to. Don't know exactly what my opponent has in their hand, but right. The fact that Devoted Druid is a card that exists in our deck. Now, Devoted Druid can get Fatal Pushed. Quill Spike is already infinitely large. I should have attacked with it. Alright. This is an Abrupt Decay on Quill Spike. Alright, so the attack was negligible. Yeah, I'm just gonna die regardless. I could have attacked with it because what you can do then is you can like tap all of your mana to give it +3/+3, so I could have swung with it for like 10. We've got a lot of live draws now in the deck though. 2 Quill Spikes because we did win with this deck yesterday, so there are 2 Quill Spikes in the deck. Alright. This is a Cast Lingering Souls. I don't imagine there's going to be a flashback here. Oh, interesting. They're going to attack the 7/7. There's no more cards. Oh no, there's 1 Scavenging Ooze. Oh, that's really unlucky. Okay, so this is now a lethal attack. We're going to chump block the 7/7 with a Eternal Witness. Is that right? I can't kill this Scavenging Ooze is the problem. Yeah, have to go like this. Alright, a Quill Spike doesn't really even save us at this point. Just need Archangel of Thune or Collected Company or Court of Calling is what I meant to say. Opponent has 1 card in hand. Think we just run it out there. Decent chance my opponent still has an Abrupt Decay in hand. Alright. Let's go for it. So what we do is we attack with Spike Feeder, we get the Exalted trigger, and then we're going to remove a counter, gain 2 life, and we're just going to gain infinite life here real quick. Alrighty. Cool. It's going to make all of our creatures infinitely large. We're going to get an infinitely large life linker. We are going to lose our Spike Feeder, so we do have to make sure. Alright, I'm just going to concentrate on this for a second, enjoy the royalty-free music in the background while I combo out. We want to at least make sure that all 4 of our creatures are lethal here. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. Make sure that all of our creatures have about 30 +1/+1 counters on them. And then we are going to stop doing this to conserve the time that's on our clock here. Alright. That should be enough. 80 life points as well. Just make it a nice round 80. Alright. Yeah, then they're going to trade with Voice of Resurgence. They're going to get another 7/7. That's fine. I've got 3 insanely huge monsters. That's why you never concede. This game was an insane game of Magic the Gathering. These have lifelink, not death touch. Whew! Okay. My opponent's got a lot of chump blockers here, but they've got to block all of these. We're going to play Birds of Paradise pre-combat so that it'll get +1/+1. And let's attack. Devoted Druid can also unblock and play defense, which is a funny little interaction. We're going to see 1 chump blocker on each of these creatures, 1 spirit on each. Then we're going to see some Scavenging Ooze eats at the end of turn. My opponent really should concede at this point. Alright, and they do. Perfect. Writing's on the wall at that point. What a crazy, crazy game. That's definitely going to be a highlight clip, so if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to check out my stream, twitch.tv/NoLuxGive.